Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mad Camper. This is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Hey, I gotta apologize to you. I know it's been 4 days since I've put up an upload. Let me tell you, hurt my back on last weekend, really trying to put it on the mend, but that's not even why that's why it's difficult to sit here for long periods of time and be able to edit stuff and try out new things. So I was trying to create a new series, and I'm not giving up on that hope, but it's a little bit more complicated than I originally intended. So I really have to work my butt off to make sure that brings value to the channel and brings value to you guys. I'm gonna just let you know. The cat's out of the bag. I'm gonna create an Ultra Nightmare clan boss, non-unkillable, non-block damage, non-counterattack teams that are all epic, and I want to try to get those through to you. My goal is for 3 key or less, and it's difficult to build out. You can see my resources up there, right there. You can see them. I have no silver. I have very little gems as I'm trying to burn through some of these. My goal is to build a core team that I can use all the time and then bring in different champions, kind of like what I do with the I Built Them So You Don't Have To series, but instead to bring it in. Now, I've created Ultra Nightmare unkillable teams with Demetha, Eris, and Seeker, and then put different damage dealers in that, and that's been successful, and I enjoy doing that. But the reality is there are only a small subset of champions that can create those specific conditions. And for the rest of you, you're like, well, I still want to compete. I still want to be able to do Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare Clan Boss without those specific scenarios, those specific champions, right? So my goal here is to try to create that, and I just haven't quite put the core team around the 3-man team or 4-man team or woman team to be able to plug and play different champions. But I thought, geez, you know, I've been burning through a lot of different champions for this. So I'm going to bring out a video today, which is the top 10 epic champions for the clan boss. And a couple caveats: no unkillable. So Maneater out. No Demetha. We know no Skull Crusher. We want to take those out. Those are mainstays. Of course they're the best. But let's pull away from that, and I've put a team, and I've also kind of, if there's multiple champions of the same style, they have to bring different unique properties for me to add them. So a couple cases there were, like, for example, pure poisoners. If there's multiple, I kind of took a look at which ones I had the most success with when creating that. So with that said, we're gonna go into this, and I'm gonna give you my top 10, not in any particular order, because you know there's so many different roles to play in a clan boss team. So some of them are ally protect, some of them are poisoners, some of them are debuffers, but these are kind of the core top 10 that I believe. And frankly, I know you didn't care about everything I said to now. You're just wanting me to put the top 10 in so you can get in the comments down below and completely argue with me, and that's fine, because I'd love to hear what your thoughts are for top 10. And away we go. So without further ado, here it is, the top 10, in no specific order, epic champions for the clan boss. Before we get to the actual top 10, in no particular order, I gotta keep saying that, because I know someone's gonna be like, there's no way that this champion's better than this champ. It's just a tough. I mean, you're already gonna do it for all the different champions I left off the list. Like, Tyrell's not on the list. One of my favorite champions, not on the list. Didn't make it. Trumbor, one of the new champions, Ally Protect, didn't make the list. Dark Kale, but you know, a darker shade of Kale didn't make the list. You know, there's a ton. I know you're gonna be mad at me, but that's fun. That's what this is all about. Don't be hating. Just leave it in the below and say, hey, what about this champion? I think this champion's better than this champion. I don't mind that. This is the great discussion piece and an opportunity to talk about all the amazing champions that are coming hopefully to a new series near you. But I need to do some honorable mentions of the category of rare. There are 4 champions I want to highlight in the rare category that are going to make any free-to-play player just that much better in the clan boss instantly. These are all champions that you can take to Ultra Nightmare. It might be a 4 key, but you can take them all to Ultra Nightmare, and even further than that, all 4 you can use together. So here we go. The first one, no surprise here, probably, is Frozen Banshee. She is absolutely a legendary in the clan boss. She's got decent stats for a rare, good speed, reasonable HP, north of 1,000 defense makes things a lot easier. But she's got that poison sensitivity and the 2 poisons on an A1. If you have a counterattack team, imagine the 4 rares I talk about, and then adding like Skull Crusher to your team, or adding, Valkyrie to your team. You're gonna Valkyrie. I bet you Valkyrie with these 4. We're gonna make that video. Valkyrie with these 4, watching it crush Ultra Nightmare. Maybe that'll be a video in the future. But Frozen Banshee, the first honorable mention. The second honorable mention, arguably one of the easiest champions to get in the rare category, and that is War Maiden. I love War Maiden because she's so universally usable in the early mid game. Her stats don't hold up late game because she is an attack-based champion. A little bit harder to keep her alive, but the fact that she has a 100% chance booked on a 3-turn cooldown decreased defense makes her so strong right out of the gate for any sort of content, including, of course, the clan boss. Synergizes very well with Frozen Banshee. The third champion that we want to honorable mention from the Knights Revenant. If you've ever done clan boss without an unkillable or block damage or shield team, even with a shield team some cases, you need decreased attack. And what better budget decreased attack than a rare champion that has 21,000 HP and has a 3-hitter A1 that allows you to put a decreased attack. Now, I know you're looking at that, you're doing your quick math, and you're like, that's a 30% chance. But you don't have to look at it as a 1-hit, it's a 3-hitter. So that is a arguably near 100% chance, a 90% chance. Now, it's 30% chance times 3, so you probability masters will probably have some formula. But forget that, because it's a 2 turn, so that means you get 2 chances, which means you have 6 attacks in order to land decreased attack. Oh, but wait, there's more. If you put a counterattack, all of a sudden you have 12 chances. More than enough chances to land this Coffin Smasher. Definitely better with a counterattack or ally attack, but definitely can work on his own. I've used him on his own. I've used him with ally. I've used him with counterattack. He is a beast, but he also comes with a little sidebar of an HP burn that allows you to do an additional bit of damage. HP burn does hit harder than poison, so taking 1 slot for the HP burn is well worth it in most cases in the clan boss. And if, like I said, if you don't have unkillable, that decreased attack is amazing. And the final champion I want to talk about is from the dwarves, and that's Bulwark. Bulwark is a amazing little champion. He's got a baby weaken. A lot of people early on don't have a weaken debuff, so a baby weaken's better than no weaken at all. So you have War Maiden, you have Bulwark, you have 2 debuffs, helps improve your core damage without poisons, and he does have an HP burn, so you're not using Coffin Smasher, or with Coffin Smasher to make the uptime even larger. HP burn for 2 turns. But most importantly is this here: when he's attacked, has a 30% chance of extending duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. That is your Vizier, Budget Vizier, or Septimus, or now the new guy I just did a video on. Great overall unit. Amazing champion. And it's a rare champion. So very strong to be able to get, very simple. And that's Bulwark. So those are my honorable mentions. Now let's talk about the 10. Now, this is in no particular order, like I've said 100 times. I know someone's going to be like, well, we've talked about it, so I'm not going to rehash. But I just want to mention some of the champions that didn't make the list again. Grizzled Jarl didn't make the list. One person didn't make the list, and I have to put her in. Well, we're gonna see. This is how this goes. I'm looking at the list and I'm like, oh wait, I need to include that champion. So who am I gonna take out? Oh, I don't want to take out anyone. You're already taken out. No. Okay, I'm gonna take you out, and I don't feel right about it because I think you're an amazing champion, but this other champion is just more important. Okay, so let's talk about some of the champions that didn't make the list. While recording, I just took Eurogrim off the list. Tyrell didn't make the list. Deacon, so okay, I gotta do the no block damage, no unkillable, no counterattack champions made the list. And on top of that, we can argue Deacon, while he's very good, he's amazing, and he helps so many unkillable comps out there. I took him off the list because I think for straight defense down, there's just some better, more unique where they bring multiple things. Deacon is amazing. You could argue Deacon should be in the top 10. He was in my top 10, but there's other champions I wanted to spotlight over him. So that was crazy that he's not on the list. There's unknown or seldom used champions. Hope, Flesh Terror, both really good in the Clan Boss. I have actually a really good comp that has both of them in there, and for some great damage. Anchorite, the one I just mentioned, takes 2 buffs and debuffs and extends them. So a lot of different champions. So it's tough narrowing it down to 10, which I guess is a good thing, right? There's a lot of champions you can use in the Clan Boss nowadays for multiple different ways. But let's talk about the top 10, no particular order. I have this sheet here, and you see all the champions. They were the first cut, and then I had to pick 10 of them. So we're just going to go in no particular order from left, or actually from right to left, because apparently I'm going to be reading backwards. Okay, the first one is Occult Brawler. Occult Brawler, widely regarded as the best poisoner, or used to be widely regarded as the best poisoner. I'm going to actually highlight someone that I think is better. But Occult Brawler has a passive. This passive has a 4-turn poison at a 70% clip to land. Also puts a poison on himself, which may or may not be a big deal depending on your comp. But as long as you make sure you account for that, it won't mess up with this, which gives you an extra turn and can run him out of shields, out of unkillable, out of sort of things. But on top of that, he also has a 60% chance of placing a 5% poison for 2 turns on this ability, and his multipliers are pretty strong. So if you deck him out in full attack, even though he's an HP champion, thanks for not fixing that player. Why would you? HP champion, damage based on attack. But overall, this guy can hit hard. He's got plenty of survivability, and pretty much can just get you your 2-key Ultra Nightmare all by himself type of thing. Very strong champion in Occult Brawler. The next one I want to talk about is, oh god, Venomage didn't make the list. I should do a top 10 to 20 why they didn't make top 10. But anyway, next on the list is a very unique champion, and that's why I added 2 here, and that's Aox. And Aox may not be your first thought for it, but when you actually look at this, when you're talking about non-unkillable teams, you're looking at someone who increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attacked. That's really good, especially at the beginning. You land your defense down, you decrease attack, and then he can just extend those early on quite a bit, which is very nice. But overall, it just adds that even if it's extending poisons, it's reducing the chance of those poisons dropping, and is making you do more damage and keep your debuffs up. Also has a decreased attack, 75%. It's unfortunate it has that decreased crit rate. Now, if you're really good at doing this, you might be able to not land that decreased crit rate, because they have to have 50% or more turn meter. And if Aox goes first in the rotation, can potentially negate that. And it's on a 3-turn cooldown, so it's not very difficult to, depending on your comp, but you can work around that decreased crit rate, which you really don't want on the Clan Boss. Then you've got this: attacks one enemy, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP. This is such a big deal because it also heals an extra 2.5 for each debuff on the target. Now, when you start taking damage and your team starts losing health, to be able to get them back up to full health, it is their max HP, but when you consider there's going to be 10 debuffs on the Clan Boss, that's an extra 25%, which is a big deal. That's a fair clip, 35% of each champion's max HP just from that heal, and on top of it, has an extra 30% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So here's a guy that brings heals, brings poisons, and extends debuffs. Very strong kit overall, and then and then has the decreased attack as a cherry on top. So this champion is bringing so much to the table for you. That's Aox, remember. Next up on the list, my pick for the best 4 poisoners, also does ridiculous amounts of damage. It's not Aothar, it's actually Rowan, and I think a lot of people forget her. She did get buffed, so this used to be 75%, now it's a booked 100% chance, 3-turn cooldown of placing 4 5% poisons. Also, the stun doesn't mean anything, and has this attack here. The only downfall of her, she does have this heal reduction that she lands, which is unfortunate, but not game killing. And then works really well, by the way, with Venomage, because Veno has that damage reduction as part of the heal reduction. So it's a really nice added bonus. But the big thing about her, the reason why I added her is even though she's got the you get one less poison because of this heal reduction, what you get is you get a 4-hitter, a 3-hitter, and a 1-hitter. Which is 8 over a 3-turn cycle, which is beautiful for Giant Slayer. One of the few champions that has a Giant Slayer-like kit when the A1's only hitting once. Keep in mind, if you are doing counterattack teams and ally attack teams, it is lessening the impact. And I would almost say, if you were doing a counterattack team, that she might be better off with War Master. That would be an interesting video to determine whether or not one or the other is better. But in straight kit, she is definitely a Giant Slayer champion. But also, look at her starting stats: 108 speed, 1400 attack, 16, almost 17k HP, 6% crit damage. Overall, really good champion. The defense is low, but still pretty survivable in most teams. And the fact that you have that 108 speed means getting speed tunes is so easy with her. And that allows you to concentrate on defense, HP, and survivability, or damage if you're putting her unkillable. So Rowan on the list. Next up on the list, oh god, no Tyrell, no Deacon, no Aothar. We're going to go to, I had to put him on the list because it's such a unique ability if you don't have counterattack, to be able to put Farrakhan the Fat in there. And it's not just about his ally attack. First of all, he deflects all 20% of all incoming damage this champion receives onto his allies. It's pretty nice. It makes him more survivable. His starting stats aren't phenomenally great, so the ability to kind of deflect some of that damage off to all your other 4 allies, so they take 5% each of the damage that he's taking, and he lessens it. I think it's a good ability for him. Now he has the beatdown, which adds an increased crit rate and an increased crit damage buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack 1 target enemy. And in the clan boss, that just means more damage, increased crit damage. This increase, it is a 4-turn cooldown on a 3-turn ability. But consider this. First of all, he's giving it to them on the ally attack. So they're all going to get that at 100% clip if you build them at 70% crit rate. But the other thing you can do here is you can just bring in an extender as part of your team. And then you can make everyone 70% crit rate because you know that it's going to be on a 4-for-4. Or if you properly tune him to take more than, if he's in a 2-to-1 team, then it's not a big deal at all because he's going to revisit that before you end up bringing it down. So such an easy thing. But if it were just that, he might be included on the list. But on top of it, he has an HP burn and a poison at 100% chance when booked on a 3-turn cooldown. So here you're putting HP burn, which is great. You're putting poison, which is helping your poisoner on your team add poisons to the fray. And then if that wasn't enough, if you have a team where you don't have 100% decreased defense, which is absolutely viable, I think there's a champion on the list that does that. The decreased defense at 50% when booked is a nice added bonus to make sure that you're getting as many opportunities to land that decreased defense. The only downfall is because he doesn't join the ally attack himself, you're not getting that extra opportunity. So you are going to need to bring in my opinion, a secondary decreased defense in order to keep that 100%. But still, great stats. His HP is a little low, but his defense is reasonable and attack is reasonable. He does have extra crit damage, so he's going to hit pretty hard. So Farrakhan the Fat on the list. Who's next on the list? Well, we're going to go to one of the best epics probably for Clan Boss, all situations in the game, and that is Fane. She has the complete kit. It's got a decreased defense weaken. It's a 3-hitter that has a booked 100% chance of placing decreased defense, a booked 100% chance of placing a weaken, and then heals this champion by 4% of her max HP for every debuff on the target on the 3rd one. So she's a self-healer. What a great opportunity to have that in a non-unkillable team. But for unkillable, she brings everything. So you have one champion that does everything. Really good for man-eater comps. Really good for a single damage dealer comp where she's also the debuffer for herself. Because she also puts a decreased attack. So if it's a non-unkillable team, guess what? She has a decreased attack at 100%. Oh, she also has 2 poisons. And if that weren't enough, she's got a double hit here. She doesn't steal the turn meter, but just a 2 hit, a 1 hit, a 3 hit. It's going to probably be War Master, but still a very strong kit overall. Look at her attack, 1663. Little bit of survivability issues, but as long as you make sure that you're propping that up a bit, sacrifice some of her pure damage, this heal is going to help keep her alive just by her own kit. So very strong champion for this particular for the epics, right? Next on the list is the new entrant on the list, and I didn't think this champion would make the... Well, we're already there. And that's Akemtum. Very good damage. Working on a video right now. Ran out of resources. Gotta run some spider runs today. But we'll have that video out probably next after this one. And yeah, damage in Clan Boss, very good. Very good poisoner. I still have to do some testing because I did one run where I allowed Hex to happen. So here's the deal. 80% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under Hex whenever their allies receive damage from poison debuffs. But there's no allies in the Clan Boss, so I don't think this ever procs. We're gonna do some serious testing to see whether that even comes into play. But then we also have, he puts a Hex or he extends his own Hex on A2, and it's a 3-hitter. And it hits very hard. And then we have an A1 3-hitter that has a 50% book chance of a 5% poison. And if it's under a Hex debuff, also can spread. Not a big deal in the Clan Boss, obviously, but in other areas of the game might be very good. Like, for example, Ice Golem. Very strong ability in the Ice Golem, right? You know, when you don't have to directly hit the boss to add more poisons to the boss because you're hitting the minions, very strong. But the big deal here is also has an speed in all battles aura, which allows you to better make out a team because you're reducing the requirement on speed. So very strong champion, did a lot of damage for me, but I got a lot more testing before I get that video out. So hopefully we'll get that video out to you later not later today. This will be out today. Later, 2 days, 3 days from when you watch this. All right. So next on the list, we are going to the best poisoner in the game, in my opinion. Ridiculous numbers, ridiculous damage, and that is Urticata. And Urticata has a special place in my heart because she actually has the record, the personal record, obviously not some big record, the personal record for the most single damage on a Clan Boss run. Over 50 million, has beat everyone else that I've put up. I've had a lot of 48s, 49s. She was the first and only one so far to crack 50 million. Or did... I don't know if Whisper did in that other comp, but for sure Urticata did. And what a strong champion. What she relies on is such a unique thing, and it's right here. Whenever this champion or an ally lands a critical hit on an enemy under Hex, has a 10% chance of placing a poison debuff, which is up to 25% for 1 turn. But when you consider you have 5 people all hitting, some of them multiple times, and it's each hit, not each attack, these poisons add up very fast. She has a speed in all battles, so you can put her as your lead, and it helps build your team a little bit better. She puts the Hex. It's 4 times at random, and it has a 50% chance. So you're going to put it on there. It's a 3-turn cooldown. Has a poison sensitivity on a 3. It's a 3-hitter. Each one having a 30% bookable to 50% chance of placing the poison sensitivity. And then she attacks one enemy 2 times. And each hit has a 50% when booked chance of putting poisons. Each hit has a chance of increasing the duration of poison debuffs. So she's increasing the duration of her poisons. She's landing them because they're going to crit cap her here. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits on a 3-turn cycle. That means that she is a Giant Slayer beast. And then everyone else is just going to help her put those poisons up. It's a great kit, and she does ridiculous damage. She hits really hard. In an unkillable team, you can build her out to be doing 200k hits, 150k hits, over the whole thing, right? Because she's hitting 4 times, 4 times, 3 times, and then 2 times. The damage she puts out is phenomenal. Do not sleep on her. If you are looking for a poisoner in any Clan Boss team, look no further than Urticata. Next up on the list is... oh yeah, one of my favorite champions from the Undead Horde is Annex. Just because he brings so much. First of all, he hits really hard. 1500 base attack. Very low speed, unfortunately, but you can get around that. The big deal here is, so he has a passive effect. This isn't a huge deal, but can come into play where he can increase his defense if he drops too low. He can put an attack on himself when he drops below 50% and grants an extra turn. This here is really good because it helps heal him. If you put him in heal gear, there's a leech buff on the clan boss. But here's the deal. He has a weaken, 100% chance to place a weaken for 2 turns, and heals himself by 50% of the damage. Then he has this, which is a poison. He hits an enemy 2 times. Each hit, 100% chance of placing an accuracy, decreased accuracy, and a poison for 3 turns. Then has a 35% chance of placing a decreased defense for 2 turns, and it's on each hit. So you pair him with Farrakhan, and between the two of them, they keep decreased defense up. He's got the weaken, he's got poisons. He is just a jack of all trades, and that's what I like about him. He's not quite Fane level. Fane, in my opinion, is better than him among the epics. Fane might be the best overall champion for the clan boss among epics, just because she brings everything in an all-in-one, which makes her so versatile no matter what you're building. But what ANX brings is a whole lot of different things that you can put together with a team. I built a team with ANX that was absolutely fun, and he looks cool. So ANX on the list, and then we have 2 more. We have 2 more champions to talk about. The first one is one of my personal favorites and the only ally attack I brought in, and that's Toragi. Toragi is a next level. First of all, he's HP based, which is very good for clan boss. He's got starting of almost 22,000 HP. Amazing. He has the resist, who cares? When attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. Occurs once per hit, not per attack, once per hit. So think of how many times the clan boss hits 2 times on the A1, or sorry, the A2, on the A1, 4 times on the A2, and then once if it attacks him on the stun. So so much different one. And if this is your stun target, great, because he's HP based, not defense based. Your stun ignores defense, doesn't matter. You can pump this guy to 100k HP if you want. But if that weren't enough, he also places a shield buff equal to 15% of this champion's max HP, and if ally protect on all allies except for this champion for 2 turns, then heals this champion by 25% of their max HP and places reflect damage on them for 3 turns. But the key stat here is the heal increases by 2.5% for each poison. So he's taking ally protect. He's taking in all this damage that's being dished out by the clan boss. Then on his A3, on a 3-turn cooldown, he's putting that ally protect. He's healing himself for 15 right off, he's putting a shield buff on everyone for 15%. Then he's healing himself by 25. And you think of the poison debuffs, you could have 7, you could have 6, you could have 8. So you're looking at another 15 to 20% heal on him. So he can heal himself right up to full for most of the times. It's just such a strong overall ability for an ally protect. It brings multiple things, the reflect damage, whatever, but it's extra damage, so not bad. Then you have this, you don't use it. You just cancel this. You use that in other areas. But he also brings the decreased attack, and I think that's very important to remember. It's a 40% chance on a decreased attack on an A1, which means ally attack, counter attack makes him so much stronger. But here's a guy that's protecting your team, can heal himself, and brings an ally attack. Overall, just such a strong champion in the game, as well as putting poisons down. So you're just getting kind of so much out of this champion. You're getting so much value out of one slot in the clan boss, which makes him so amazing. Now I have one more champion who arguably, in the non-unkillable world, is the most important champion you could possibly place. This is a champion that when they were brought out, revolutionized a lot of teams, believe it or not. And a lot of this was pre clan boss calculator, and even at the very beginning of clan boss calculator, this champion was probably used more than any because it needed a 4-3 in order to fully go. And that's from Knight's Revenant, and it's Sepulchre Sentinel. Sepulchre Sentinel is a long forgotten champion. So long forgotten, I can't find her. Sepulchre Sentinel brings in the ultimate in defensibility against the dark arts of the clan boss. So first of all, has a 25% chance of completely blocking incoming damage, which is 50% chance. So a 50-50 chance once per turn of completely blocking incoming damage when an ally is attacked. occurs once per turn. Will only block damage for the targeted ally if multiple allies are attacked at the same time. So when the clan boss, that's going to be your lead. So when the clan boss hits everyone, your lead might not take the damage. Stun, the 50-50 chance for that stun damage to be completely negated. Amazing. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. It has this, and this is a big deal. Places a 60% increased defense buff and a block debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns. It's a 4-turn cooldown, 2-turn block debuffs, which means you can block the debuff of the AoE 2, and you can block the stun as long as you put her in a proper 4-3 ability, which makes her so strong in the clan boss in of itself anytime you don't have an unkillable. But wait, there's more. You've got a 60% chance of placing a decreased attack for 2 turns, which makes her even better. And again, A1, that means ally attack and counterattack. She just absolutely is a boss in the clan boss. And that is my top 10 list of epics to use in the clan boss. I'm sure you have champions that you think I should have added that left out. But here's the deal. If you're going to comment what champion I should add, you have to tell me over who. What champion would you take off my list in order to add the champion that you want to highlight on your list? That's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching the video. Most importantly, hey, please be kind, be safe. We'll see you in the next one.